10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Manchester
1,
United have
0.
reached the promised land.
Well then, good morning everybody. It's Monday. I'm sure you're all feeling absolutely chipper. I'm so excited to be. I'm excited enough to be here after what was yet another frustrating result for Manchester United at the weekend. Drawing 0-0 with Watford. Nah, come on. I think after like the 40th minute, I was like, no, don't do this again, United. And United did it again. But how are you all doing? We're here to talk about Cristiano Ronaldo. You saw my video yesterday. I'm sure you did. You saw my match reaction. Ronaldo, the question I asked yesterday was, is Ronaldo finished at the elite level? And the reason I said that was because for me, the elite level is the level that Ronaldo still can play at, but week in, week out, 2-3 times a week. I personally think that is the case. And we're really seeing that right now. Manchester United, we're wafer thin in terms of central striking options. And Cristiano Ronaldo's form has gone out the window. So we're going to speak about Ronaldo in a bit of depth this morning. We're going to speak about Ralf Rangnick's comments after the Watford game. We're going to run through all of that. Going to be speaking about Anthony from Ajax. Who knew that? We're going to be taking a look at what could be the solution, right? Because there's clearly a problem with Ronaldo. I personally think a major contributor to that is the fact that he's playing too much. So how do you fix that? We'll run through potential options. What else we've got to talk about? Man United search for a new manager. And I'm going to be reacting to your comments as always. Let's go down here. Robin saying, morning, Sam. Awesome work in the Ronaldo video. Thank you very much, buddy. Nice to see you there. Who else we got down here? Let's have a look. Anthony T. Good morning to you. Anuj. We've got Andy. Jigar. Paula. Good morning to you. Menos. Gungshi. And I see you, Gungshi. And Ant, you're loving the new countdown. You haven't joined in early enough to see that it's been going for a week then. Good morning to everybody. All right. Hope you enjoyed Sunday a little bit more than you enjoyed your Saturday afternoon. Yeah, geez. Against Watford, another relegation candidate. And that's I did a tweet about this after. So Manchester United against Watford, Southampton, Burnley, and Middlesbrough combined. We had 92 shots in those games. 92. And we scored 3 goals. It's 3. Wow, we were absolutely abysmal. As this quote from Ralf Rangnick after the game shows, yeah, this has got nothing to do with Ralf. Our job as coaches is to help the team to create enough chances. The number of clear chances we had today had to be enough to win a game like this. And yeah, it's something that I said on Twitter. Let me get my tweet up, actually. I may as well. It will say better than I can now. Actually, I could just repeat what it said in the tweet. But I was very firm in what I said after the game because I feel pretty strongly about this. I don't really want to see any sort of criticism being aimed towards Ralf Rangnick this week at Manchester United. And I'm going to be doing a separate video on this after this. This is my video later today is going to be titled "We Need to Talk About Ralf Rangnick," because I've got quite a few things I want to say about him in defense of him. If anybody really wants to try and say that. And this is what I said there. I said, look, I'll tell you one thing. I won't hear a word against Rangnick. He's made this team so much more creative over the last 6 to 8 games. It is completely on the players and their inability to finish. And that's down there. As I said, 92 shots in total versus Watford, Burnley, Southampton, and Middlesbrough. And 3 goals. Absolutely woeful. Woeful finishing from Manchester United. And unfortunately, you might not want to say it, but I'll say it. Cristiano Ronaldo is part of that problem. Is he the problem? No. Is he part of the problem right now? 1,000,000%. Honestly, if you don't want to say it, it's because you don't want to say it. It's the truth. Whether or not you say it or not, that's your decision. But it is the truth that he is part of the problem, man. Let's have a look here. This is some seriously worrying numbers here. This is Cristiano Ronaldo's form. By the way, if you are enjoying it, I brought in a new graphic designer who's starting to help me on the social accounts. So that's why the designs are starting to look a little bit sexier because I'm not doing them. But look, this is Ronaldo in the last 10 games, Let's scroll through this. No goals, no assists against Watford, Brentford, West Ham, Middlesbrough, Burnley, Southampton, a goal against Brighton, but none against Leeds. none against Atletico, and none against Watford. Manchester United absolutely are struggling to score right now compared to the amount of chances we're having. And yes, Cristiano Ronaldo is part of that problem. Chris, something I absolutely, completely agree with here as well. No, Sam, with decent, consistent service, he would score nearly every game. You put that Ronaldo in this City team right now, my word, he'd score so many more goals. That I don't disagree with. But at the same time, Chris, he simply has been having, he's had plenty of chances. He has had plenty of chances, whether it's rounding the goalkeeper against Southampton and basically missing an open goal up with what a very tame left-footed shot, whether it's sort of dragging his shot onto the post against Watford. Was that unfair to say he dragged it onto the post? The simple problem, right, is this, and Ronaldo's part of this. He's the only other striker we got at the club, right? Rashford's not a striker. Elanga's not a striker. You could talk about bringing Charlie McNeil up from the academy, but as I said to you before, I like to see academy players being brought through and up into the first team when it's correct, when it's the right time for them, right? Bringing Charlie McNeil up from the academy now, accelerating his progress because we're struggling for goals so much. It's a very different pressure situation to bring him into. Fact of the matter is, the reason I think that Cristiano Ronaldo is struggling so much is because he's playing every single goddamn game. He's playing every single goddamn minute. I always said this, and now I think you're seeing the evidence for him. The person who managed him the best in his career was Zinedine Zidane, the man who dropped him for games at the weekend against La Liga, even if Ronaldo kicked off a stink. He did kick off a stink. There was a huge story about it. Every time it happened, I remember it. What happened in those bigger games when you want your biggest players to come up with the big goals? Boom. There you go. Ronaldo turned up, hat tricks in Champions League knockout games. But the reason they were able to do that is because they had backups. They had Benzema there. I don't know who else they had up front at the time, but they had attackers galore. Real Madrid never struggled to score for goals. Manchester United right now, he's our bloke. And in this situation, that's where I suppose the Mason Greenwood situation exacerbates that problem. It's another option that we cannot use. And Marcus Rashford is bang out of form. Edinson Cavani is on his 94th holiday of the year. Cristiano Ronaldo is 37, and he's bang out of form at the moment. There's no doubt he'll come back into form. And look, the good thing is for Manchester United now, we've got a full week before Ronaldo plays his next game. And Gary, you've got a question there in the comments saying, what's the answer, Sam? Now, I've been thinking about the answer, and I don't think the answer is in any way, shape, or form Martial. I completely stand by the club's decision to ship Martial out. It was not working for him. It doesn't matter what he does at Sevilla. He wouldn't have done that at Manchester United. Simply put, he needed and wanted a fresh start. He's getting that out in Seville. Good luck to him. The best of luck to him. I don't think he would have changed Manchester United's fortunes. My opinion, anyway. You can disagree with that one if you want to. But when it comes to sorting this problem, because it is a problem, all right? It is a problem. Nick, what are you saying down here in the comments? You're saying playing him too much may be an issue, but the major issue is his mental state. You can see it in his body language. He misses and his shoulders drop and he loses his mojo. He does. He cuts a frustrated figure. And I think I always say this about players, but players are sort of symbolic of the club that they're playing in. Ronaldo's frustrations, symbolic of Manchester United's overall frustrations, isn't it? And what you're saying, in my opinion, Ronaldo can still do a job, but not in this league. Premier League is far and away the fastest, most aggressive and physically demanding league. I would disagree and say, look, I completely think that Ronaldo can still do a job. But I think Ralph's going to have to get a little bit smart here, because on paper, there's not really another solution, is there? Edinson Cavani's not fit. Marcus Rashford's not a striker. Anthony Martial's out on loan. And Ronaldo's 37 and can't play every week. What do you do? I think you can probably do this, right? It's a little bit rogue, but it's about picking and choosing what games to use Ronaldo in, I think, anyway. So if you're going to put Ronaldo on the bench down there, I know, let me just switch him out. I'll show you what I'd do. I'll do this. It's quite simple. I'll put Bruno as a false 9, and I'll put Fred in midfield. Now, of course, you can then talk about Sam. Hold up here. Bruno's form is absolutely abysmal as well. Now, Bruno's form is pants, but Bruno's, I say, his form's not pants. He keeps coming up with assists constantly. Was it 7 in a row? He's got in the Champions League now. But I think this could probably be something that I believe we should be looking at trying in certain games. The problem is for Manchester United, our next game's coming up, and Man City, Spurs, Atletico Madrid, and Liverpool. So, I mean, that's going to be difficult in itself. But if you're looking at a potential in the games like, for example, Watford at home, that 11 there could have beaten Watford at home. There's more than enough there to beat Watford at home. And that's by resting Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo does want to play all the time. I know that Ronaldo wants to play all the time. But if we're looking at if we're looking at option, as I said, this isn't ideal on paper in any way, shape, or form. But Bruno, I know, is capable of playing in that false 9 position. He's got the energy and the recovery to play week in, week out. And it wouldn't be an issue. And of course, look, Gary, you're right down there in the comments. You're saying, I think the goals will come again. It's just a matter of time. I think it's completely a matter of time before the goals come again. It's a matter of time before we pump a team 5-6-0 and all of our chances actually go in. That's all we're waiting for. But in the meantime, Ralf has to come up with solutions where he can possibly use a starting 11 that does not have Ronaldo in. Because that's the only way I think you're going to get the best out of him between now and the end of the season. If you don't, Ronaldo's going to get huge fatigue. Ronaldo's just going to sort of disappear, man. Disappear. Let me go down there and read a few of your comments out down here. He was a player that needed to be rested, not Sancho. So that was my issue with Rangnick. Sancho, was he being rested? I suppose he was being rested. That was a bit of a strange decision. But yeah, I think it's through a lack of choice. It's through a lack of choice. Dan, you agree? You say, thank you very much. Bruno's a false 9. I keep saying this. Takunda, you're saying, why can't Ralf drop him for some games to play 4-3-3 without a striker? Like what Chelsea, that's what we're looking at here. Bruno is a master planner, says Winnie. Well, I'm not sure he's a master planner, but he's a very decent player. But look, we have to come up with a solution, because I personally don't think that this man is finished. In any way, shape, or form, this man is not finished. But at the age of 37, he has to be managed a little bit differently. Okay? That's called getting old. If Ronaldo was 27, he could do this every single week. But Ronaldo, and as I said to you a lot, his body and his approach to football is geared towards being that number 9 inside a team that dominates the ball, dominates possession. Real Madrid did it all the time. Juventus, what did they win? 6-7 Scudettos in a row? He geared his whole body towards being the ultimate goal hanger, being in and around the 18-yard box, not having to worry too much about dropping deeper, getting into possession, pressing. His job, simply put, was to make sure he was in the right place at the right time, because he knew the service was coming. That's what he did at Real Madrid. That's what made him the greatest goal scorer of all time. That's what he did at Juventus. And that's how he scored plenty of bags of goals there too. Now at the age of 37, he's dropping inside a team which is lacking confidence. And as a role model, he's trying to sort of put himself about, dropping deeper, getting frustrated. That's what's happening. He's getting frustrated at the lack of service, trying to create himself. But then he's a bit fucked by the time he goes back in the box. And he can't do it for the full 90 minutes. You saw it against Watford. I did a tweet. I said, look, Ronaldo looked 37. Ronaldo did look 37 against Watford. There was a couple of times where just the ball just kind of went away from him and he didn't have the power in his legs to get to it. He's doing too much. He's playing too much. I'm not here saying Ronaldo is finished at all. That was the question I asked in the video, and I explained my opinion by the end of it. I think the days of Ronaldo playing 3 times a week, they are finished. Therefore, he's got to be managed better. He's got to be managed correctly. But then you go into that conversation, and what do you do in that point? That's why I've sort of... Right, I think I might do a video on this separately, because I think we need to explain this in a bit more like tactical detail. But we need a formation that doesn't rely on a striker right now, which is a weird thing to say because it's such a vital part of football. It is the most important thing in football, right? But with Cavani being 35, we simply cannot rely on him to play more than 1 or 2 or 3 games in a row before he gets injured. Simply put, done and dusted. We can't rely on Ronaldo to play every single game. Done and dusted. Those two, they are facts. In my opinion, they are completely facts. Alex saying, what happened to 4-2-2 with Ronaldo at Alanga at the top? There you go. There's another way of looking at it. Because something that Ronaldo has said to something that Ronaldo has said to Ralf is sorry, I can't speak. He's been saying that he would like a striker partner because that would obviously make him run a little bit less. But then when you're going back to this formation, you're then looking at probably a better solution for Cristiano Ronaldo. But are you really looking at a better solution for the team? I don't think so. My God, I've made this as complicated as possible in terms of moving these players around. Jesus Christ, Sam. Sort your life out. There you go. Ronaldo. Ronaldo with Langa. There was no Sancho in there now. Oh, Jesus, sorry. It's a 4-2-2 anyway. What do you think? What do you think in the comments? Keep letting me know. Like, Uthman, you're going there. You're saying Ronaldo is done. He should be dropped or take the exit door. Or it's wrong. It's wrong, okay? Ronaldo is not finished at all. In any way, shape, or form, Ronaldo is not finished. It's just the fact that he has to be managed better, man. And for him to be managed better, we have to have better options. And given that we can't get better options until the summer, cool. Ralph's now, between now and the end of the season, going to have to come up with a short-term solution to maximize Cristiano Ronaldo. Because look, the problem here now that we've got is this. Look at our games coming up. We've got City on Saturday. There's a little bit of time. There'll be enough time for him to rest and recuperate in between those games. I've got no worries that Ronaldo is going to look too leggy against Man City, but it's City away. I mean, if there's a game where you're going to look, if there's a game where he's going to get exposed and look leggy, it's probably going to be City away. A team that dominates possession so much, a team that United simply will not be able to dominate possession against, a team that Manchester United are going to have to play quick and through the transitions against. Basically going to have to hit hard and fast on the counter-attack. And fingers crossed that we can be clinical when we got our chances. Because against City, realistically, you're probably going to be looking at Manchester United getting a few clear-cut chances. It won't be a game like Burnley, Watford, Southampton, all that, or any like that, where we've had like chances galore. It'll be a game where we're going to get maybe a couple of clear-cut chances, and we really have to take them. So maybe that City game, you really, really will see Ronaldo a bit exposed again. But then there's 6 days rest in between that and Spurs, which is plenty of time, right? Until you realise that our game against Atletico Madrid is 3 days later. So in my opinion, I don't want to see Ronaldo starting against Spurs, which might sound like a bit of a crazy conversation, given how important that game could be in the top 4 chase. But you know the mad thing about the top 4 chase? You spend all season focusing on the top 4. Mate, we've got the Champions League round of 16, the game after. The thing you get into the top 4 to be part of. It's more important than the Spurs game. Way more important than the Spurs game. So let's see what goes on there. Oh, yeah, sorry. So, City is on a Sunday at 4:30. I think I might have said Saturday. Doesn't really matter. But, yeah, I don't think that Ronaldo cannot play 90 minutes in every one of these games. He'll probably play 90 against City. I think he should be on the bench against Spurs and brought off the bench. I think he should hopefully not have to play against Spurs and we'll cope without him. And then he's completely and utterly fit for that game against Atletico Madrid. Anthony, look, this is the biggest problem that you get in football when you're doing well. How do you prioritize when every game is important? When it comes to that business end of the season, when you look at each fixture and you're like, how can I really rest players here? That's where the quality of the squad comes in. And that's where Manchester United's quality in our squad is being horrendously exposed. Up front, midfield, I'd probably argue as well. Well, you can talk about defense if you want to too. But if we want Ronaldo to do the business in the three most significant games in these, that's City away, Liverpool away, and Atletico at home in the Champions League second leg of round of 16 against Atletico, we cannot make him play 90 minutes in every one of those games. Ronaldo has absolutely shown his age in these last few games. And look, take off. I know you're not wrong here. Look, Ronaldo's just lacking confidence. Cool. He is lacking a bit of confidence, but it's not just a confidence thing. It's a physical ability thing. Mentally, he's 18. Mentally, that's what makes him so incredibly influential. Mentally, he still wants to win everything. Mentally, he still is hungry for those goals and is still hungry for those titles. And that's why he's such a positive mental influence in a lot of these players. But I think some of his frustrations are coming with his body sort of not starting to fail him, but his body just starting to age on him. Because mentally he's still there, but there might be certain things that he just finds a little bit more difficult. There might be certain things that are just a little bit harder, a little bit longer to recover from. That's what I think I can see with Ronaldo right now. And that's why it's a problem. Because on paper, you're going to have him probably getting angry when he gets substituted. We saw that. He got frustrated when he got subbed off. Where was it? It was away at, don't know, Burnley? No, Burnley came off the bench. Sod knows. I remember him being frustrated when he got taken off. But it doesn't matter. He might not, but that's what a manager does. A manager should be able to manage his players better than the players can manage themselves. Otherwise, what's the point of a manager, right? So Ralph's going to have to sort of step in and see this. And I'm sure he is. Ralph's a very astute and intelligent man. As I said, right now, I won't really listen to any criticism against him. I think it's insane and ridiculous, and I'll explain that in a video later today. But Ronaldo does not look good right now, okay? And don't try and come, oh, Sam, you're an idiot. He's the GOAT, blah, blah, blah. You're just ignoring what you're watching, all right? Because it doesn't fit it doesn't fit your narrative. It's true. Ronaldo's struggling like hell. He's looking 37. Last 10 games. 1 goal and no assists in the last 10 games from the greatest goal scorer of all time. Something's going wrong. Something is going wrong there. Paul, yeah, you're right there. Saying 3-5-2. Ralf wanted to play 3 centre-backs against Madrid. We could see that. And having a partner up front would certainly alleviate some of the pressure on Ronaldo to run. Ronaldo up front alongside Elanga could be a perfect sort of partnership, a good blend. Elanga sort of doing a lot of the legwork, and Ronaldo then being able to operate himself as that pure number 9. Let's go down here. Wayne, you're saying, look, there you go, Wayne. I think Elanga will do a cracking job as a striker for if and when we need him in that role. I don't know, but United have got to sort it. As I said, I think I'll do a video on this later in the week. It seems like a relevant conversation that we should have. Say, right, if Ronaldo playing 90 minutes every week is the problem, if we don't have Edinson Cavani to rely on, which we don't, then what does Ralf Rangnick do? What could Ralf Rangnick do as an alternative? Short stop gap until the end of the season. I'll do a video on that later this week. That's a good idea. Talking to myself there. What else we got? What else are we going to run through here today? Hey, look, ladies and gents, please, if you would consider dropping a like on the video. It's going to be another one of those tough weeks here on the channel in terms of nobody really wants to talk anymore. It's like, well, I'm going to talk about United. It's so shit at scoring. It's so, football fans, not just United fans, all extremely privileged. We all are. When it's going great, yeah, man, let's talk about football. Yeah. When it's not going great, you just ignore it until the football comes back around. And if a good result happens, you come back out your shell. Oh, yeah, let's talk about it again. And have we scored a couple against Watford at the weekend? I'm sure it'll be a very different conversation. It'll be buzzing down here in the comments today. But it's not, because we're all privileged. We can pick and choose when we really want to focus on the football. Right now, it's not the best. Shane, you're not wrong here, saying, hi, Sam, we look good on the weekend. Great football, but no goals. Hey, Shane, that's exactly what you could say about Burnley. Look, there you go. Perfect. Bring it up now. This is Manchester United's XG. XG was a stat that I never really focused on too much, but I think XG is a very relevant stat now that I've sort of dived into it a bit more. I think it's an extremely relevant stat for showing how big the chances that you get in games are, because you could have 24 shots on target, but 23 of them could be from 35 yards, right? So does that really mean that you had 24 shots? No, not really. But if you look at Manchester United's XG on paper here, in the last 6 games, we should have scored more against West Ham. We didn't. My word, we should have scored more against Middlesbrough. But I'm not sure if that actually includes the extra time in that. So that might be a bit skewed. But down here, Burnley, we should have scored more than we did. Southampton, we should have scored way more than we did. Brighton, we scored a 2. There you go. Watford, we should have scored way more than we did. The XG is really showing us that Manchester United, simply put, are an extremely inefficient team when it comes to chance conversion right now. Ronaldo's part of that. Bruno is definitely part of that. Everybody. Marcus, every single person who's been taking our shots, simply put, they're just not good enough right now. Is it a confidence thing? Yes. Is it a confidence thing? Absolutely. But it's just down to everything. It's everything at once that we don't want it to be, basically, with all of our attackers right now. And what I'm going to do next is run through a few more comments from Ralf Rangnick after the game. Everything that he's saying about United's control, X, Y, Z. Before I do, though, I head down to the comments and see what you're thinking in the comments. Matt O'Neill, good morning to you, my friend. And good morning to you, Klein and Orr as well. Nice to see you all here. Liam, you're saying, at this stage, this season's looking good. At this stage, the season... at this stage of the season, looking good gets us nothing. 3 points is the only thing we are after. It's exactly what it is, Liam. Oh, Liam, I think it was you. I need to get a shirt sent out to you, sir. I'll message you on Facebook. You won the raffle last week. Raffle? Draw. You won the draw last week. Bringing more youth like Elanga, says Karma. I wouldn't say there's any striker. As Charlie McNeil is the only name that you would probably put inside that category. But I personally, as I said, I don't think Manchester United should be looking towards the youth to try and fix this problem right now, because it would be bringing a youth team player into the first team in the wrong sort of environment. You're not bringing him through because he's completely and utterly ready. You're bringing him through because the first team is desperate. And that sort of situation forces a younger player into a bit of a pressure situation that I don't think they need at that point in their career. Simple as that. Gary, you think we'll get past Madrid? How are you all feeling about the Atletico game? I'm nervous as hell, but United against Old Trafford, over 90 minutes. Yeah, you're damn right I'm going to back United. I'm absolutely going to back United. But look, let's run through a few more of the comments from Ralf Rangnick after that game against Watford. The frustrations of it. I mean, Ralph's getting annoyed. And he's got every right to be annoyed. Because and I don't even think we're being biased in saying this, we should have had 3 points against Burnley instead of 1. We should have had 3 points instead of 1 against Southampton. And we should have had 3 points instead of 1 against Watford. Definitely Southampton and Watford. If you really want to try and argue that Burnley was a fair result, fine, you can argue that. But I don't think it was. Southampton and Watford, 2 points from 6 when it should have been 6 from 6. And those 4 points would have completely sort of changed the... Oh, well, it wouldn't have changed too much, of course, but given that Arsenal got a couple of games in hand, but it's all about momentum. It's all about taking those steps forward. And the standard Manchester United right now, 1 step forward, 1.5 steps back, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. Leeds, 4-2, great game, apart from that 10 minutes. Atletico Madrid, pretty abysmal for 80 minutes, but those 10 minutes where we needed to, bang, we got the goal, got the great result. And then there against Watford, the 2 steps forward that we maybe took against Leeds and Atletico, both of those have been taken away, and it's 2 steps back, and then the momentum's gone again. Absolutely gone again. Nick, nice to see you there this morning, buddy. What are you saying? Clearly aging and out of form at the moment. We only create 1 to 2 chances for Ronaldo in 90 minutes. The crosses are shocking. Give him 5 chances or so, and he'll score. If you're looking at chances that he had against Watford, he had that chance where he went on his right foot and he dragged it onto the post. People are pointing out the fact that Bruno Fernandes could have passed across to Cristiano Ronaldo when he went through 1-on-1, but let's be honest, most of us would back Bruno to score that anyway. So there's no surprise that he took that shot on. Matt O'Neill, what are you saying here, buddy? Do you think Elanga is better as a super sub or part of the starting 11? At this moment in his career, he should not be relied on every single week as a starting player for Manchester United. He's 19. He's breakthrough season. Simple as that. Same. I felt the same with Rashford. I felt the same with Martial. I felt the same with everybody. When a younger player like that coming through, it should not be a case that they play every single game for 90 minutes. Some games, it will be the right decision to start Elanga. Like Watford. After his goal against Atletico Madrid, there was nothing else you could do apart from start Elanga. Would have been ridiculous not to. But that doesn't mean I think he should start every single game. Absolutely not. Gungshi, how you doing here, buddy? Saying, hi, Sam. Is there a striker out there you consider buying to help take the burden off Ronaldo? I don't know whether there's any sort of free transfers available. And I don't know. I personally, as I said, I think it should just be something that we need to sort in-house. Whether that would be playing a 4-4-2 to play two up front. But I wouldn't want to do that. I think this 4-3-3 formation has been the heartbeat of our improved creativity. As I said, by looking at this, it goes to show you how creative this United team are being. Every single game we've scored, every single game, last 6 games, in the Premier League, we should have scored more goals than we did score. Creating is not an issue inside this 4-3-3 system, and I wouldn't really want to change that just to get the most out of Ronaldo. That would take Ronaldo up from a 6 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10, but it would take the overall team shape and balance from an 8 out of 10 all the way back down to a 6 and 5 out of 10. So instead of the problem then being Ronaldo, the problem would then be about the shape and the balance of the team and the lack of creativity. So it will be replacing the problem rather than fixing it. That's what a switch away from the 4-3-3 would do. Joa saying, at this rate, not qualifying for the Champions League could somewhat wake up the Glazers into assertive action. Then again, maybe not. Now, Joa, obviously, back in the day, you would have watched my video on the Glazers strategy, and we all knew that the investment went down the year after we got inside the top 4 because we have achieved the top 4 finish. And whenever we didn't finish in the top 4, it went back up again. 2 years that's changed. Last year, under Solskjaer, well, this summer, if you want it, under Solskjaer, and 1 year under Mourinho, where we finished top 4 and then actually spent more the season after. United know we're on the verge of it now. I feel that anyway. We're on the verge of this club taking a huge stride in the right direction for the first time in a long time. This summer, we're going to be getting that new manager in. And that any new manager has to be back with new signings to bring in a couple of players that he wants to be his midfield or his team. Every manager's got to make a stamp on their team. I don't think Man United backed Rangnick in the January transfer window. We could have got Amadou Haidara. That was someone that he really wanted, someone that was linked with back into like December, I think. He wasn't backed. And even in the fact, as I said, I'm going to speak about this separately. All right, I'm going to do a video later today on Ralf Rangnick and why I personally think that no one can really throw any criticism towards him. You can try and argue about his subs if you really want to. You can try and argue about his starting 11s if you really want to. But I think they're moot points, and I think that they're a waste of time to any United fan who really is trying to somehow lay some of this blame at the feet of Ralf Rangnick. I think it's crazy. But speaking of Ralf, it's what he said after the game. Run through a couple more of his quotes. United were in control. We did everything apart from scoring. We had to take the result. It is difficult to win the game. We were in full control for almost the entire game. They had hardly any counterattack, apart from the last 5 minutes. Apart from that, we were in total control. We were utter total control. We had enough chances. In the first half, we had 4 clear opportunities that would normally be enough to score 1 or 2 goals. In the second half, it was similar. It's all about efficiency, about being clinical in front of goal. And it's not for the first time, unfortunately. So if we're looking like being clinical, Anthony Elanga against Atletico Madrid, put through by Bruno. And I'll tell you what that really reminded me of was Marcus Rashford's goal away against Spurs at Wembley. Remember that game? That the build-up was it's Solskjaer against Pochettino, the man that we all thought was going to get the job and the man who did get the job. And what happened? Man United played with split strikers. Rashford, was it Lingard? I don't know. But Rashford was up there. Paul Pogba, remember that pass that he flung over the top? into a similar position to where Elanga was against Atletico Madrid, and Rashford did the same finish, fired it across Hugo Lloris right into the side netting. Incredible finish from Rashford, that was. And it was a situation where Manchester United were clinical. Didn't have many chances. We took it when we had one, like we were against Atletico. And oh my God, if United were just more clinical, the results in the last 6-7 games, we would be on such a hot streak right now. Because chance creation-wise, we're on a hot streak. Results-wise, we're still on a hot streak. Man United have only lost one game under Ralf Rangnick, but we have drawn so many. But they're not Louis van Gaal draws. All right? They're not draws where you're effectively pulling teeth out or watching paint dry. They are draws where you're watching Man United just effectively dominate the majority of a football game, create so many chances, and just continuously fluff their lines. Chance after chance after chance, continuously fluffing. And as I said, at some point the penny will drop. I've maintained that the whole way through with Ralf Rangnick, and I'm still absolutely convinced of it. The penny will drop at some point. Manchester United will just get a glut of goals at some point, and you hope that once that door opens, that they all start pouring out of every orifice. Just three in one game, 4 in the next game. It feels like we're capable of doing that. It feels like we're doing that right now, apart from the finishing. Frustrating, though. Really, really frustrating. What we're saying down here in the comments, talking about Lukaku, talking about Ronaldo. I was so happy when United got rid of Lukaku. I didn't care that he went on to win Serie A. You had to get the most out of Romelu Lukaku. You have to build a team around him. You have to get everybody playing to try and maximize Lukaku. And Inter did that, and Lukaku was great. Worked out in Serie A. No chance of that working here. I'd still take a 37-year-old Ronaldo right now ahead of Lukaku back at the club. My opinion, you might disagree on that. Let's go down here and see what you're saying. So many of you mentioned a certain Norwegian striker. So let me pull up this photo. I was going to put it up later, but sorry, I'll pull it up now. Now, if this doesn't deserve a like, I don't know what is. How fire is that graphic? Look at that. Woo! Look at that. Ronaldo, Kane and Haaland, both in their respective potential United kits. Who would you choose? Right? Because there's no doubting that they are two elite strikers at different sort of stages of their career, aren't they? Harry Kane is that experienced Premier League stalwart. I would probably say still the best striker in the Premier League. Has been certainly over the last 5 years or so. Harry Kane or Erling Haaland. If you're going to choose one of those two, who are you going to choose? If you're looking at pros and cons, pros, Kane, guaranteed 20 goals in the Premier League, I'd say. Guaranteed. Absolutely banker. Erling Haaland, though. It's Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland, I think, is probably going to be... He looks like Ronaldo. You know, R9 before he got injured. He was still incredible after he got injured, but had he not got injured, he would have just gone on to just set the ridiculous records I think he would have done anyway. But Haaland looks incredible. What do you think? Let me go down here and see what you're seeing. I think it's really interesting. That I'm going to be doing a video on this at some point. Kane or Haaland. We'll have a debate video on that. I think that'll be good. Kane is overrated, says Natasha. I would completely not disagree. Kane is incredible. Haaland, says Anuj. Paul, you say Kane. Haaland all day, says Matt. Let's go down here. RDX, you're saying Haaland. Anthony, you're saying Haaland. Calvin, you're saying Haaland. Nick, you're saying Haaland purely because of age. And T, you're saying... Most of us down here in the comments are saying Haaland. I would agree. You can then argue about Raiola and getting in bed with the devil, blah, 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 blah. But Haaland is... Whoever signs Haaland for the next, 3 to 5... Well, it depends. I suppose that's an issue that you got with Haaland is how long you're going to have him for. You're probably going to have Haaland happily for 2 years before he starts angling for that move away. And then you're going to get stuck in a circus again. Would Harry Kane do that? Probably not. Whoever signs Harry Kane has got Harry Kane now until he's just a little bit too old. Kane, you're probably going to have for 4... I think if Kane came to United, he'd be United for 4 or 5 years. And then sort of move back to Spurs, something like that. But the majority of you down here in the comments would prefer Erling Haaland. And I'm like, Ian, I'd still be happy. Yeah. Would I be upset if we signed Kane? No. Would I be upset if we signed Mauricio Pochettino as our new manager? No. Would I prefer someone else? Yeah, I would. Doesn't mean I'll be upset if either of them came in. But yeah, I'll be honest. When it comes to that, I don't think we're going to go after Kane. As I said, this is a hypothetical situation. You know, on paper, there's two elite level strikers who both will be available in this summer transfer window. I don't think we're going to go and spend 100. Let's be honest, a minimum 100 million on Harry Kane. We would spend the money on Erling Haaland, but it's whether we spend the wages on Erling Haaland. But whoever it is, and I'll have plenty of videos on this too, we need a new striker this summer. Top draw number 9. Absolutely essential for Manchester United this summer. Speaking about our search for a new manager, I'll bring you all the updates as and when they happen. There isn't any major update this morning. It's why it's not the title of the video. It's why it's not being the main part of the conversation. But this from The Athletic, it feels a little bit fluffy. From Dan Sheldon, who also writes The Athletic, saying down here that Poch is a favourite to replace Rangnick in the summer, and goes down here to say, what else is he saying? I thought it was quite interesting. He's saying that John Murtough will lead the pursuit, and that basically Fletcher will help, and Arnold will be the man who signs it off, who sort of ticks the boxes. But it's effectively going to be completely up to John Murtough to bring this new manager in. Now, who would that be? We know it's probably going to be Pochettino. That's what it feels like at the moment, eh? Even if so many of us want it to be Ten Hag, it feels more likely to be Poch at this moment in time. Maybe that will change, but I don't know. And Shane, you're saying, look, it depends on who the manager is. If we get Poch, we will sign Kane. Yeah, it's true. It's true there. What else are we all saying down here in the comments? As always, keep firing in your comments and your opinions. We've got a couple more minutes before we wrap up for today. Got a busy day ahead. And of course, I'm as I said to you all on the live stream on Friday, I'm off to Vegas on Wednesday. I'm going to be going for a week, so I'm going to have to try and really work ahead of myself, get some videos planned and prepped and set in. So for the days that I'm not going to be able to go live here, that there will still be content for you. Don't say I don't treat you well. Please drop a like on the video. That's worth a like on the video for that, isn't it? And Nick, yeah, look, man, I completely agree with this. Ronaldo played 4 games in 11 days as a 37-year-old, while Cavani can't even be bothered to play. I wish that I could still just love Cavani, sing gimme, 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 talk about how good his hair is, and just rave about his passion on the pitch. Can't really be asked anymore. I'll be completely honest. Cavani just seems to pick and choose when he's fit and when he wants to play. Bear in mind that he was given an extra, 2, 3, 4 weeks off during the summer. And that was part of the reason why he stayed and didn't leave Manchester United. My God, I can't be asked anymore. Paulie, you're saying that Cavani's pissing you off. I think it is pissing you off. No, absolutely no is the answer to that one, Ian. Don't need that again. Cavani's pissing a lot of people off. I'll be honest. If Cavani was fit, we wouldn't be seeing Ronaldo in this sort of fatigued, tired version of himself right now. But we have nobody. And that's why he's playing so much football. Cavani hasn't looked the same since Ronaldo came along, says, and they're completely coincidental. Ronaldo's form is not affecting Cavani's fitness or Cavani's desire to be fit to play. That's down to Cavani. Liam, don't worry, I'll get that top out. I'll get that top sent out to you, my friend. But look, it's a frustrating. Again, the frustration comes back. It's just football, isn't it? It's just football. From where we were 2 weeks ago, coming on and having these conversations about Maguire, Ronaldo, and the captaincy, and that sort of debate. So the conversations that we had off the back of spanking Leeds 4-2 and the positivity returned. It's all of a sudden being back in the situation where we were 2 weeks ago, and now we're frustrated again. That's Man United for you right now. We're up and we're down, and we're up and we're down. We're not consistent, and that's why we struggled so much to sort of catch and stay up with Liverpool and City at the top of the league. And this week is going to be no different. It's going to be a frustrating and slow week all round. I'm going to bring you a video later on today because I personally think the biggest talking point that we need to talk about is Ralf Rangnick, on the progress that he's made, on the problems that we've currently got. We're going to have a big discussion about that. And I'll be live here tomorrow morning at 9:30 as well. But look, thank you all very much to join in. Thank you all very much for joining in this morning. Make sure you join in tomorrow morning at 9:30. And because tomorrow morning is the last live stream for a week. So I'd love to have you on board there. Make sure you drop a like on the video. As always, thank you very much for all your comments, ladies and gents. And I'll see you soon.